Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome back. I hope your week is off to a great start. In today's video, I'm continuing on with my Best of 2024 series. Last week, I shared a couple of videos, one of them being my favorite skincare products from last year. And in today's video, I actually want to share my favorite skincare devices from 2024. In 2024, I actually used a lot less devices than I have in other years. And I think that was mostly due to the fact that I really wasn't feeling my best for most of 2024. And so I just wasn't putting as much time and effort into using a lot of my devices that I own. If you've been with my channel for a little amount of time, you probably have seen that I am struggling with perimenopause. That has been going on for a few years now, but starting I think in 2023 is when things really started to go downhill for me. My hormones really started tanking. And then that just got worse in 2024. Now, I did finally get put on hormone replacement therapy at the beginning of December, and I've officially been on it for a month now, and I actually will have an update video for you guys on how things are going tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, I feel like I just needed to kind of simplify a few things here and there just to make life a little bit less overwhelming for me, and using a lot of devices can definitely be time consuming, and you have to be committed to them, right? Like anytime that you are investing money in any skincare device, if you are not using it consistently, then there's no point in purchasing the device. In order to see the results, you do have to use them consistently. And in a lot of cases, unfortunately, you have to use them long-term to maintain the results. Now, in past years, I have not had issues with that because I've had a lot more energy. But like I said, last year especially, the energy levels were a little lower. So I kind of reined it in just a little bit. But I still did use these 5 devices super consistently. One of them is actually now discontinued, but I'm still gonna share it because this is truly the stuff that I use the most. So yeah, these are the devices that I felt were worth using with what little energy I had left at the end of the day. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive into these, you guys. I'll list and link everything in the description box down below. If you want to check out any of these devices yourself, read up a little bit more about them, check out other people's reviews, yada, yada, yada. The description box is a plethora of information. Feel free to check it out. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to dive in. Now, you should probably know a little bit about my skin before I start sharing these devices. So if you're new here, I'm 46. I deal with enlarged pores. I do have melasma, mostly just on my forehead. My skin is still oily, but I've noticed that it's actually starting to change just a little bit. So I'm gonna still say that I have oily skin that is prone to congestion. But yeah, that's kind of my main areas of concern, if you will. It's just addressing the overall look of my pores, the tone, the texture of my skin. So the devices that I personally use are mostly geared towards addressing those specific issues for me. So I'm not saying any of these devices are going to be right for you. You have to do your own research and make sure that you invest wisely when it comes to devices. They can be very expensive. And listen, if you know that you are not the person that's going to be consistent in terms of using these devices, I would say don't invest in them. With a lot of this stuff, you have to use it not only consistently, but you have to continue to use it long-term to maintain your results. Does that suck? Yes. But listen, that's just the reality. I think it's very important for people to embrace reality when it comes to skincare and devices. If you're not going to be consistent, you're not going to see the changes. And if you're not going to use it long term, you're not going to maintain the changes that you achieve. So that's just the reality. And there you have it. All right, let's dive in. We're going to get started with my favorite skincare device of all time. I purchased my first one in 2011. When that one died, I immediately purchased another one. You guys, it's the Clarisonic. It is now defunct. Obviously, Clarisonic is no longer around. Clarisonic was purchased by L'Oreal in, I don't even remember what year it was, 2017, 2018. Anyway, once that acquisition happened, it was basically the end for Clarisonic. L'Oreal did nothing with the company. I feel like at that time also, a lot of cleansing devices were falling out of favor. For me personally, I don't care what anyone says, I get a better clean when using my Clarisonic than when I am using just my hands. There is a big difference. I will never not use a cleansing device myself. I think the fact that I have enlarged pores just makes this a much better way for me to get a deeper clean. This has never irritated my skin. Now, there are ongoing expenses when it comes to Clarisonic. I think that was part of the reason why they may have gone under as well. You do have to replace the brush heads. Just so you guys know, before Clarisonic went under, I purchased a bunch of replacement brush heads. I also have a backup Clarisonic, which is my travel one. You can still find the device as well as the brush heads at Current Body. At least you could up until, I want to say, summer of 2024. That was the last time that I checked. But if it's still available, obviously I'll link it down below. I'm actually thinking about purchasing a backup device just so that I can have it for when this one eventually dies and when my travel one eventually dies. I just love this thing so much. Now, at some point, I will completely run out of replacement heads. They're not going to be available. So at that point, I will move to the Foreo cleansing device because I already own one of those as well. I do think that that is definitely a great replacement. I'm just not willing to move on from my Clarisonic quite yet. So I did still use this every single evening during 2024. And like I said, until I retire her to the recycle bin, I'm going to keep using it. So I love it. It's not for everybody, but oh my gosh, what a difference that makes for my skin. Next, we are going to talk about the device that I've probably used the most consistently in terms of long-term use right after my Clarisonic, and it's my MitoPro red light therapy device. You guys, I am still doing this at least a minimum of 4 mornings a week. I make sure that I get up early enough to be able to give myself 15 minutes with this device. I do use the red light and the near infrared. It does not aggravate my melasma. My melasma is aggravated more so by my hormonal changes as well as exposure to the sun, but it does not get aggravated by red light therapy. So I'm pretty lucky in that respect. If you do have melasma, it can be triggered by near infrared therapy. So something to keep in mind if you deal with melasma. So you'll just kind of have to test it out and see if that's the case for you, but mine is not aggravated by this at all. So the device that I've used the most consistently is this MitoPro here. I'm still using the iTheraU device as well. It's actually hanging on my closet over here, but I use that for my lower back pain. That one is just mounted in a way where I can literally stand in front of it and just kind of rotate like a rotisserie chicken. It also works well when I have cramps during that time of the month. So red light therapy is good for more than just improving the tone and texture of your skin. It really can have a positive effect on other areas of your body as well, which is why I just love it so much and why I use it so consistently personally. I do have a discount code for the Mito device here. They have smaller devices as well that are a little bit less expensive than this big one. When it comes to red light therapy, I think the quality of the device makes a really big difference. I've had this one for years. I've never had a single issue with it. It works every single day as expected, and it's easy to use. I love it. I will never not use red light therapy. I'm just a big believer in it, and as long as you are consistent, you will see results. Now, can you stop using it and then continue to maintain your results? No, that's not how this works, right? Like I said, when it comes to these devices, if you know that you are not the type to be consistent with them, don't invest in them. Think about maybe saving your money up for in-office treatments. That might be a better fit for you, because if you just do an in-office treatment every, 2-3 years, that might be much more economical for you actually than investing in a bunch of different devices. So I know that I'm consistent, so this makes sense for me, but again, you need to make it make sense for you. All right, next, let's move on. I finally got back into microneedling this past year. And admittedly, it was because Banish first reached out and offered to send me their device. This is the Banish stamper. You guys, I used to use the rollers on my face many years ago. I stopped doing that when I discovered or learned from others that they're really not actually the best for your skin. Those needles are entering at a bunch of different angles because it's round, right? And so you're going to have an increased risk of scarring, and using something that just creates straight channels into your skin is a much better, less risky way to approach at-home microneedling. So I just did a video in December where I walked you guys through how I actually microneedle with the Banish device. One of these heads here actually will last you 8 uses. So when you are ready to toss this, by the way, I do this only once a week, usually on Sunday. So after 8 uses, I just have to take this part off and discard that, and then attach a new head to the handle, which you keep. And it's very easy to do that. You literally just line up the little things and twist it, and then you are good to go for another 8 sessions. I find this device to be pretty economical. Being able to get 8 uses out of each head is fantastic. I do use their serum, by the way, their vitamin C serum afterwards, and it really brightens the look of my skin significantly. Makes my skin look more alive. It just gives my skin a beautiful glow. And I don't know, I'm really glad that I got back into microneedling, but I'm glad that I am no longer using those rollers. Much less risky. The needles on this are very, very short, but they are effective, you guys. So this is my microneedle device that I will be using throughout 2025. So you'll probably see this next January again, just to warn you. All right, the last 2 devices are both from Foreo. I really do like Foreo in terms of their skincare devices. Like I said, I have the Foreo Go in my shower. It's fantastic for traveling when, I don't want to risk taking my little Clarisonic here, which I'm obviously still very much attached to. But there are 2 devices that I used consistently from Foreo this last year. And the first is the Foreo Bear. So there were some months where I would use this quite consistently, just a couple times a week. And there were some months where I would not use this at all. And I did notice a difference. So with microcurrent, did I say microneedling? This is microcurrent. With microcurrent, the effects are not necessarily long lasting, which again, you have to continue to use it. So using it 2-3 times a week, perfectly safe. But it really does have such a great effect, especially on my jawline. So I get Botox in my masseter muscles. Now, I don't do that for beauty purposes. I do that because I clench and grind my teeth like it's my full-time job. I just don't deal well with stress, so I take it out on my teeth. And I grind and clench all day long. It's not just at night when I'm sleeping. And yes, I did have a mouth guard. I found it incredibly uncomfortable, even though it was custom made by my dentist. My dentist even offered to, mess around with it to see if he could make it more comfortable. It didn't work. So I would spit that thing out every single night. And I finally just decided to go ahead and invest in the Tox and it made a big difference for me. It's not gonna be for everybody, but I get 20 units in each side here, and that keeps me from clenching and grinding. But also what that did is it took a lot of the bulk that I used to have towards the back of my face here. If you look at my videos from like 3-4 years ago, you can see how bulky my lower jaw got from clenching and grinding over the last decade. My face was so much more, my face is pretty round to begin with, but it was like so much rounder because of the bulk from these muscles. So obviously the tox is going to atrophy those muscles. I don't have any problem eating. Trust me, I weigh just as much as I ever did. It does not affect my ability to chew my food at all. It just keeps me from having that urge to clench and grind. Like I don't have the temptation at all, and I just don't do it anymore. It's fabulous. But anyway, what that did then is it kind of caused a little bit of laxity back here that then caused a little bit of jowling towards the front here already. So wasn't quite ready to have that be a thing. And so I started using Microcurrent again. So I literally will just use this on my jawline a few times a week, and it kind of keeps everything looking a little bit more snatched, as I think the kids like to say these days. But yeah, it just keeps this jawline here looking a little bit tighter, and it prevents that jowling that just naturally kind of wants to happen now, because I don't have this bulk back here holding the skin back taut. So, or basically the fascia and everything back taut. It's not just the skin, it's a lot of other things that sink as you age. But just a few passes of this few times a week makes a big difference. It keeps me looking a little bit more youthful, and it's easy. It's super easy, you guys. So I love this particular Microcurrent device. Until this one gives out on me, I don't think that I would purchase another one. There's no need. So I'm not gonna test out the new face. I'm not gonna do any of like the other, you know, Microcurrent devices that are out there right now, because this one works and it's effective. So the last device that I want to mention is the one that I actually use the most infrequently, but I do use it at least once a month, and it is the Foreo. This is the Kiwi, right? This is the regular Kiwi, not the Kiwi Derma. This is specifically for blackheads and sebaceous filaments. This is not going to be the device for everybody. Basically, this is one of those pore vacuum devices, but this one has an adjustable suction on it. So I will use this once a month max to go over the areas where I have the most enlarged pores. I only use like half of the power of the device, I guess you could say. I don't turn it on max. It is completely unnecessary to do that. And it just sucks those sebaceous filaments out. I don't really deal with blackheads right now, so I'm not really sucking those out of there. But it really does give me a deep clean to my skin, and then my pores look so much more refined. Now, I will say anyone with sensitive or delicate skin, don't even think about getting this. It can be way too harsh for those with that particular skin type. But if you have tough, oily, or combination skin, I think this is a great device to use to just get a little bit more of that gunk out of your pores that maybe doesn't get removed with, you know, your everyday cleansing routine. So anyway, I love this device. Do I think it's for everybody? Absolutely not. Am I glad I bought it? Yes, I am. I love it. It's fabulous. So anyway, you guys, those are my 5 most used devices for 2024. I am going to be testing out a couple of devices this year. Actually, Nira was kind enough to send me one of their devices at the end of last summer. I was just not feeling super great, so I never started testing it back then, but I do want to get into using it here in the month of January, so I'll let you guys know how it goes with that. I'll do kind of an intro video, talk a little bit about the device. I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with Nira at this point. It's been around for a long time, but I'm definitely curious to see what it can do for my skin, so I'll start testing that out and kind of take you guys along for that journey. me. And maybe towards the end of this year, there might be another device that I'm interested in you know, testing out and reviewing here on my channel. But I also know that, you know, I need to be realistic about the amount of things that I am willing to do at this point. I really didn't use any radio frequency last year. I did not use EMS either. So yeah, anyway. For what it's worth, this is what I used in 2024 that worked incredibly well for me. So for what it's worth, there it is. Let me know what devices you were loving this past year in the comments down below, or if there's anything that you would recommend to me based on my skin type that could maybe improve things at home. I am not averse to in-office procedures. Obviously I do get talks every 4 months in my forehead and then also in my masseter muscles here, but just so you guys know, I got no filler last year, so what you see in my lips has been in there for, I feel like, a couple years at this point. We are learning now that filler definitely does not dissolve as quickly as was kind of first advertised. So I'm still perfectly content with everything else. There are no in-office procedures that I'm planning on getting this year, but yeah, I'm not averse to them in the future. So anyway, that's it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, check out the description box for the links to everything, and I'll see you for more of these favorites from 2024 a little bit later on this week. Take care. Toodaloo.